Roark here. Yes, you can call me Mr. R. We're going to be picking up here for our 8th grade middle school class on the weight and balance. We have been working with the graphs. Today we're going to be working with the tables, and this is the part that I really like better than I do the graphs. I understand the reason for the graphs. It's supposed to simplify things and make it easier for pilots to do weight and balance calculations for the airplanes. But as I've said before, the problem that I see with this, and the problem that I see that most people struggling with, is an ability to draw a straight line. And I know it sounds easy, but it's not as easy as it looks. Then all of a sudden, depending upon the width of the lead of your pencil, you're sitting down here and you're looking at some moment number at the bottom of this graph, and you're thinking, okay, what is this? Is this 11.1, 11.3, 11.6? You know, what is it? And it's hard to do that. So with the tables, we actually work with the numbers themselves. And this is a part where, again, I want to just kind of remind you, weight times arm equals moment. And then again, another way to re-express that equation is going to be total moment divided by total weight equals arm, or in this case, center of gravity, or CG. So you guys have all got that written down. So, and I know you've memorized it, right? Yeah, okay. Because we're going to be actually using that equation today. So with that, let's go ahead, and I want you to pull out figures 32 and 33. 32 and 33, you guys have this, and what this is, these are going to be the tables. As we look at the tables, we're going to examine these in the same way that we did the graph, because this tells us what kind of an airplane we're going to be working with. So as we look at this, we look at useful load, weights, and moments. As we look, we can see that we have, on the column on the left, is that we have here, we have this, whoops, hang on here a second. That's not the ink I thought I had on here. Stand by. I thought I had this. There we go. Is that as we look at this, we can see that in the column here on the left, baggage or fifth seat occupant, and you'll notice something here. You'll see that we have the weight. You'll also see that we have the arm expressed in inches, and we have the moment. So let's think about this for just a second. What's our formula? Weight times arm equals moment. So far, so good. But as we look at this moment, notice one thing. Our index is different on this one than it was on the graph. On the graph, the moment index was 1,000. On this one, it is 100. So remember that as we're working with these numbers. Your moment index is 100. So with each of these columns, you can see that we have weight. We actually have the arm, so we can actually work with the mathematics on this, which is great. So we see here we've got baggage or fifth seat. We have the occupants here, so we have our front seat, we have our rear seat. Fuel, we have fuel here, but notice a couple of things. We have main wing tanks here with an arm of 75 inches. We have auxiliary wing tanks here with an arm of 94 inches. So notice that we have two different places for fuel. Oil, we have the oil here. But notice on this oil is actually included in the basic empty weight. So in this particular configuration, do we have to have a special place here to factor the oil? Nope, because it's included in the basic empty weight of the airplane. Speaking of basic empty weight of the airplane, let's look and let's see where we are. Look here. Here is our basic empty weight of that airplane. 2,015 pounds. Also notice what else they give you. They give you the moment here as well. Okay? So there's your basic empty weight, and there is your moment for this aircraft. Below this, you can also see that here on figure 32, you'll look at three different weight conditions. Well, golly, I can't draw a straight line. Let's try that again. 2,950 takeoff or landing. That is the biggest number that they give us. Do you suppose that that biggest number right there, if that's going to be then our max takeoff weight? Then we have kind of a middle of the road kind of a weight. We have a lightweight weight. Yes, I know, it's a bunch. And with each one of those weight conditions, we're also given a CG range. And so you can see here that we have the forward limit at max takeoff weight of 82.1 is going to be the CG for that aircraft, 82.1 inches. And here we also have the aft limit of 84.7. And you'll notice what happens as this airplane gets lighter. You can see here that when it's heavy, you have a CG range that may be looking something kind of like that. But as this airplane gets lighter, you'll notice that the CG range becomes a bit more broad. So keep that in mind as you're looking at these problems, okay? Because that's going to be one of the things that I have a feeling you're going to be asked to evaluate. When we look here now at the next one, this gives us then all of our moment limits versus the weights of this aircraft. So what you'll see here in this column, for instance, let's look at this one, is that we'll see that at 2,500 pounds, and that is the total weight of the airplane. That's passengers, empty weight, baggage, fuel, that's everything. You have a minimum moment and a maximum moment that you have for that particular weight. Remember that for us to find our CG and to make sure that our CG fits within these limits, we're going to need to take a look here at our moment and remember this equation. Total moment, and that's using all the numbers. That takes the index out of it. So you're going to have to multiply whatever number that you get by 100 to get your total moment here if you have been using these figures here where it's been divided by 100. So you have to factor that back in. And then your total weight, and that's going to equal what? That's going to equal your CG. And we have to make sure it's within the moment limits for that particular weight. So you can see at 2,500 pounds here, you have a minimum moment of 1932. You have a maximum moment of 2143. If you look down here at the actual max takeoff weights here, you'll see that you have a minimum moment of 2422 and a maximum moment of 2499. So that is going to be that thing that will, for this weight of this airplane, it will factor then what your CG is for that particular weight. So, all good there. Now then, let's take a look at something. So, pulling out your figures 32 and 33, let me erase this here real quick, guys, so that we can use this again without having to look at all of my chicken scratches there. Hang on here. Do they use the term chicken scratches anymore? I don't know. I mean, with everybody typing now, how do you chicken scratch? Do chickens truly scratch? That's another question. But that's for, I think, probably another class. That's going to be one of your ag classes there, and you can talk about, poultry there. Okay, so there's that. Now then, let's take a look at this. I'll work with you here on this first problem, just so that we can get used to what it is that we're doing here. Now, question is, determine if the airplane weight and balance is within limits. We refer here to figures 32 and 33. So here again, this is going to be the figures that you guys have with the tables. And I know that you brought them all with you today because that was what you were instructed to do. Go you! So determine if the airplane weight and balance is within limits. As we look at this, we can see that we have front seat, we can see that we have rear seat, we've got fuel. Remember that whole mains and auxiliary thing that we looked at there before? We have baggage. What's missing? the basic empty weight of the airplane. Remember what they gave us? Do you remember that part here on figure 32? Well, if we look at figure 32, we can see here's the information that they gave us. So what we have to do is we have to take that information and we have to add this to what was given. So we look at this now and we're going to take our basic empty weight, and we know that basic empty weight was what? 2,015 pounds, right? And we were told the moment for that is going to be 1,554, correct? So that's what they gave us. So we have to add this information to what was given. Now the other thing that we have to do here, if you guys will remember, is that we also have to create what? We need to create our own table. So that's what we're doing right here. So here's that, here's this, here's that. We also know that up here is we have our weight, we have our arm, and we have our moment. And our moment here, the index is divided by 100. Down here, we have our column totals, right? So as we look here, the very first thing that we're going to need to do is that we're going to need to do the addition on our weight column. So we need to add everything up. So as we look at this and we add all of this stuff up, I'm going to put my, my glasses on here, guys, so I can see what we're doing. So with this, this is kind of what we're after here. So we add 2015. We add our front seat passengers of 340 pounds, rear seat passengers of 295 pounds, fuel in the mains, 44 gallons. What does 44 gallons of fuel weigh? 44 times what? 6. That is correct. So 44 times 6, how many of you got 264? Excellent. Then we have our baggage at 56 pounds. So then we're going to add all of that up, okay? So we add all of this up. What do you get? Go ahead, add it up real quick. Go ahead, add it up. How many of you got 2,970 pounds? Hopefully all of you. When we look at this, what do we remember from the previous figure here? Remember this. So what's the first warning bell that is going to go off in your head here? And that is this. It looks to me like we might be a little bit overweight. Okay? That's kind of the way it looks to me. So it looks like we may be 20 pounds overweight, but let's do the math on the rest of it. Now then, we go back here and let's remember what we have. We have weight, we have arm in inches, and we have moment. So we don't need the arm here because they gave us on the front of this sheet on figure 32, remember this box, they gave us the weight and they gave us the moment. We use the arm to determine the moment, correct? So in this case, we don't need it because they gave it to us. But in these others, we are going to need that. So when we look here, the front seat, 340 pounds. We look back over here. Here is the front seat. Notice this, in the front seat, the arm is 85 inches. And so what we do is we come over here and we put 85 inches in the arm column. Let's look at the rear seat. Rear seat, 295. Well, if we look here, the arm for the rear seat is 121. So we come back over here and we put rear seat arm of 121, right? What about the fuel? The fuel here in the main tanks, the arm is 75. So what do? You're kind of catching on here, right? You put 75 inches, that's the arm here for the fuel in the main tanks. Back over here, let's look at baggage. Baggage, It's right here, the baggage, arm of 140. So on this, we put the arm of 140 here on the for the baggage, right? So now what do? Weight times arm equals moment. Remember that? So now what you have to do is you'll take 340 times 85 equals what? Do your multiplication there and divide it by 100. 340 times 85 divided by 100 equals 289.0. Now let's go to the next one. 295 times 121 divided by 100 equals 357.0. Let's look at the next one. Fuel, 264 times 75 inches divided by 100, 198.0. Baggage, 56 pounds times 140 inches equals, divided by 100, 56 times 140 divided by 100 is going to give us 78.4. Got that? Now what do we do here? We're going to add everything, correct, to get our total. So we add all of this together and you get 2,476.4. That is going to be in pound inches using your index of the moment for your airplane weight and balance. 2,476.4. Now then, we go back to this. If we look here at the very last entry that we have, the heaviest that we're given is 2,950. So what do we think about this number right here? This tells us that we're plus 20 pounds, meaning that we're 20 pounds overweight. So that is one condition, because remember, we have been asked about the weight and the balance. But now here, with this 20 pounds overweight, 2,970 pounds, this is the heaviest that we have. Let's take a look at the moment that we have here. The range that we're given is 2,422 and 2,499. Does this number fall within those two numbers, 2,476? How many of you said yes? Hopefully all of you. Because this balance-wise, even though the airplane is 20 pounds overweight, it's still within the balance here of the CG. So with this, is it within balance? Yes. So to answer the question is determine if the airplane weight and balance is within limit. Is the weight within limit? Is the balance within limits? So that is the answer to your question. Your airplane is 20 pounds overweight, so it is not within limits. But it is within the balance side of things. Are we good so far? Does that kind of make sense? So that's how we do the math using the tables. And remember, I love using the tables because we're actually working with the real numbers. Now, these numbers, guys, are not difficult because what are we doing here? We're doing addition, we're doing subtraction, we're doing multiplication, and we're doing division. Guys, this is not trigonometry yet, so this is pretty easy. But where people mess up is that they do not keep their accounting in order. They fail to do these tables. Remember, you have to do these problems each and every time the same way, all right? So now what we're going to do is I'm going to put a problem on the board, and using figures 32 and 33, you are going to take some time and work individually to solve these problems. All right, Mrs. Benton, I'm going to give these guys 10 minutes to try to solve each one of these problems on their own. All right, so that's what we're going to do. So, we'll give them a little more time than that because they're going to need to copy down the stuff that's going to be on the board. So with this, Mrs. Benton, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to kind of pause this in various places, and I'll tell you where to pause it and kind of for how long to be able to make all of this stuff work. So for this one now, let's look at this. Give me just a second here. All right. Here's your first problem. So now what I want you to do here in just a minute, I want you to pause this. And guys, I want you to write this down. Do exactly what we just did on this last problem. You know now what's missing, right? You know what's missing. And if they talk to you here, let me make sure I wrote this down right. I think I did. Hang on. Yes. If they tell you that that your fuel, if it doesn't say auxiliary, it means main. And in most cases, it'll kind of tell you what that is. So unless it says auxiliary, then you can assume that the fuel is for the main tanks, okay? And then everything else, you do it just the way that we just did it. And as I say, you know now what's missing because you know what information it gives you about the airplane on figure 32. So go ahead and pause this. You guys write this down, get your tables working here. All right, when I say your table, I'm not talking about the table that you're sitting at. I'm talking about the table that you're going to create to keep all of your accounting in order. And I'm going to give you, from right now, 15 minutes to solve this problem. That allows you to copy this down, and it allows you then to do the problem. So, Mrs. Benton, go ahead and pause this right now, and we're going to give the lads 15 minutes to solve this problem. All right, go. All right, welcome back. Hopefully you guys have done this. Let's walk through this problem here one time and let's get this figured out. So with this, oops, sorry, here, welcome back. I think I was on the wrong screen there, forgive me. So yes, welcome back here, guys. So now let's go back to this and let's look at the, let's look here. We're still live. I'm getting a weird thing here on the bottom of my video screen, but we'll figure this out. So what we're going to do is we're going to create again. We're going to make our table, right? So here's our table. We also know that we're going to have weight, arm, moment, and in this case, because it's figure 32 and 33, it's going to be a moment index divided by 100. And with this now, we have our basic empty weight. Remember that from the beginning over there? And with that basic empty weight, we're looking at 2,015 pounds. We don't need the arm because it gives us the moment here of 1554.0. Front seat, 350 pounds. What's our arm? It's 85. 350 times 85 divided by 100, 297.5. Then we have our rear seat. Rear seat, 325 pounds times 121 inches divided by 100 gives us tree niner tree point tree. That's a 5 up there. So that's tree niner tree point tree. The bagage, 27 pounds times an arm of 140. Divide that by 100, you get 37.8. And then our fuel. Fuel, that's going to be in the mains, 210 pounds, 35 gallons times 6 is going to be 210. Times that, 75 inches, divide that by 100, 157.5. Okay, so what are we going to do first? First thing that we're going to do now is we're going to add the weight here in our weight column. How many of you got 2,927 pounds? Hopefully all of you. The arm, we don't need to worry about this because this is going to be a nonsensical number down here at the very bottom with this, thus far. Okay? And then we're going to look at our moment here, and we add everything here in our moment column, and we should have gotten 2,440.1. Okay? So that's what we should have gotten here. You'll take a look at that, and if you have made any errors in your mathematics, then you can correct those here right now. So we know that our max takeoff weight is 2,950 pounds. So are we within that here on our weight? Yes, so far the weight looks pretty good. So that part we kind of know. The moment, 2,440.1, well, that's going to be okay, but that's not the question that we've been asked. The question is, determine if the CG and the weight of the airplane are within limits. So what we have to do is we have to take a look here at this weight, 2,927, and we have to see, does that moment there make sense? Okay? So with that, we're going to take a look. Now remember how we do these problems here. Because what we have to do is we have to take the total moment of this. Okay, we have to take our total moment, and you use the big numbers there. So with that, 2,44010, and you're going to divide that by the total weight of 2,927, and that equals 83.4 inches aft of datum. Okay? So let's take a look over here first of all. So if we look here at anything close to our 2,950 pounds of our takeoff weight, look at this range within here. With that, we need to be 82.1 and between 84.7. We're at 83.4. Things look pretty good. The other thing that we can do is we can go here to this back side, and let's call this 29.27. Let's round that up to 29 here. Okay, 29.30. The moment that you got here, 2,440, round that to 2,440, does that fall here between these numbers? Yes, it does, because you have a range of 2,399 and a max moment range of 2,483. So you're 40 points to the good inside that 2,483 on the max side. So, starting to get the feel for how this works? By the way, gentlemen, also remember this. This class is not the only time you can look at this video to go back and actually educate yourself, to maybe take some initiative beyond just what is required here in the class. You can go to our YouTube channel, you can watch us all day long, and I wouldn't blame you a bit. Why watch Saturday morning cartoons when you can watch Mr. R do weight and balance calculations? I'm okay. So, here's what we're going to do. Same thing as before, Mrs. Benton. I'm going to show you a problem on the board, and we're going to give the lads 15 minutes to work it out. Here we go. Take that up there, and yeah, we'll just go with that. Okay? Go with that. Mrs. Benton, you can give the guys 15 minutes to copy this down and do the problem. Okay? Guys, there it is. pause now. All right, welcome back. Yes, I have red glasses and a red shirt. I planned this all night long. I thought, gosh, what would I wear? Here we go. So let's take a look at this. Let's do this one together here. So again, what do we need to do here, gentlemen? With this, 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 this. And we also know that we're missing what up here? We're missing our basic empty weight. We're going to add that here now, right? Remember, it's 2,015 pounds with a moment of 1554.0. Forgot to do that. Okay. And again, up here, here's our weight, arm, moment, divided by 100. And what we're asked for here in this, what is the maximum amount of baggage that can be carried when the airplane is loaded as follows. So you'll notice here that we don't have an actual baggage line. So we're going to need to add that on there, right? Because we're going to have to do a baggage calculation. This is going to be our bags. And we have to know how much weight, or the maximum amount of baggage, that can be carried in here when it's loaded like this. So what do you think we're going to need to do? Well, the first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to add our weight column here first of all. So we have 2,015 pounds, front seat 387, rear seat 293. We've got fuel here, 35 times 6. How much is that? 210. And we don't know what the baggage is, but everything there, the amount of weight that we have minus the bags, is going to be 2,905 pounds. What is the maximum takeoff weight of our airplane? It is 2,950. 2,950 minus 2,905 gives us 45. 45 pounds would be the maximum amount of baggage that we could add to this airplane and keep the weight within limits, correct? So let's try 45 pounds first. So in order to do this, now that we know what kind of weight we're working with, we need to figure out the balance. So when we look at this now, what we're going to do is we are going to do our multiplication. 387 times what's the arm of the front seat? 85. What's the arm of the rear seat? 121. What's the arm of the fuel in the main tanks? 75. What's the arm of the baggage? The arm of the baggage, remember, if you go back over there and look, it's 140. So if you multiply all of those things together and divide those by 100, then what you got, because I know you got this right, what you got is going to be for the front seat, you got a moment of 329.0. You got a moment for the rear seat here of 354.5. For the fuel, you got a moment of 157.5. And when you took that baggage there, 45 pounds times 140, you're going to wind up with 63.0, correct? Okay? So now if you add all of this stuff up together, you get 2,950 pounds here by adding that 45 pounds of bags. That arm is going to be kind of a nonsensical number. Now we need to add our moment. I didn't give a whole lot of room down here to add this moment together, but when you add the moment column here together, you should get 2,458.0. 2,458.0. So let's look again here at 2,950, what is going to be here where we need to be with this? We need to be somewhere between 2,422 and 2,499. Is 2,458 between 2,422 and 2,499? The answer to that would be yes. So that would indicate that 45 pounds is indeed the maximum amount of baggage that you can add to that airplane, because that puts us right to the tippy top of our weight of 2,950, and the balance still works. So, are we good to go? I'd fly that airplane. So there we are. All right, let's do the next one. Here we go on the next one. Stand by. All right, same thing as before. Mrs. Benton, let's give these lads 15 minutes to do this, and let's get this figured out. Now, you'll notice that you've got a couple different fuel things that you're going to need to take into account, but I have a feeling that you guys, being the scrappers that you are, you'll be able to get this figured out. Okay, so pause this video, 15 minutes, and I'll see you right back here in 15. Okay, and pause. And welcome back. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's look at this problem. Let's figure out how we do it. So this is what was given. Putting my glasses back on. By the way, here at the Nerve Center of all things aeronautics in New Orleans, Louisiana, it is raining cats and dogs. And we still have a signal here, which I am just still pretty amazed that we actually still have. So hopefully the weather is not going to bother our third world connectivity that we have down here. So with this again, what's the first thing that we're going to need to do? Yeah, that's right. Let's make our table. So here's our table. There's that, there's that, there's that. Let's do this, 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 and we also know what we're missing up here up top, right? Because we know that we're missing, we've got to have an airplane in there, right? So here's our basic empty weight. We add that on there because we know that we're working with figure 32 and 33. We know our moment. We should have that memorized by now. Okay, and we also know weight times arm equals moment divided by 100. So as we look at this problem here, we know here that when we look at this, we're going to see where we are. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to figure out our weight here. So we have this, 44 gallons in the mains. 44 times 6 is going to be what? 264. Good job. Then 19 gallons in the aux tanks, or the auxiliary tanks. That's going to be 114 pounds, right? 19 times 6 is 114. Then we have our 32 pounds of baggage. How many of you got 2,950 pounds? Well, isn't that lovely? Because right here we have that we know that's going to be our maximum weight. So now with this, we figure our arm. Remember, the front seat arm is 85. Rear seat arm is 121. And again, these are inches. Fuel, the mains, 75 inches. Auxiliary tanks, 94 inches. And our baggage is at 140 inches. Do the math here. This times this divided by 100 equals blah, blah, blah. So that's going to give us here our moment for the front seat of 352.8. It's going to give us a rear seat moment here of 133.1. It's going to give us a fuel moment here in the mains of 198.0. It's going to give us an auxiliary fuel moment of 107.2. The bagage is going to give us a moment here of 44.8. And now add that column together. Remember, we're going to add this column all together. You should have got 2,389.9er. 2,389.9. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to determine if our weight and balance is within limits. So we can look at this and we can go back here to our table, 2,950. What is going to be the loading limits here? We have 2,422 and we have 2,499. What is the number that we got here? Well, with this, what is this telling us? Ding, 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 ding. What's that telling us here? Do we have an issue here? Do we have an issue? So with this, if we look, what we can see is that with the weight that we have, the weight is within limits, but is our CG out of whack? Well, let's look at this. We can tell by this table that it is out of whack because it's showing a CG, a moment index, that's forward of what our minimum and our maximum is. So let's do the actual math here. And remember, we want to do our total weight divided by, I'm sorry, goodness, hang on, I'm doing this wrong. I was trying to do this fast. Total moment divided by our total weight. What do we get? So if you do that, multiply, or you divide that out, then what you're going to see here, if you take your total moment of 238,990 divided by 2,950, what do you get? 81.0. 81.0. So let's look at this. Where should we be at our max takeoff weight of 2,950 pounds? The forward limit is 82.1. So we are approximately 1.1 inches forward of our CG limit. So while the airplane is within weight, we do not have enough here, enough leeway in the balance section to actually fly this airplane. Okay, did you guys get all of that? All right, so what we're going to do Monday, no, stop, today's Friday, so Tuesday, forgive me. So what we're going to do Tuesday is this. I'm going to give you problems here, and they're going to be problems that will include the graph and the table. So you're going to have several different problems that you're going to have. I am going to send those to Mrs. Benton, and that is what you guys are going to do on Tuesday. You're going to do weight and balance calculations from the FAA. By the way, all of these questions that we have, this is what my high school kids are doing. They do these exact same questions. These are FAA questions. You're going to do the same thing. So on Tuesday, prepare for weight and balance calculations using the graphs that you have and the tables, okay? So make sure that you bring in your supplies. Make sure you bring in a plotter. If not, Mrs. Benton, we have plotters there in that bin. But that's what you're going to need, and that's what we're going to do on Tuesday, okay? Guys, thanks very much. Have an awesome weekend, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. See ya.